Doors fly open. Norjeon Matthias walks through. Duke. All rise.
Everyone rises.
And stay risen, please. Thank you. I would like to first start. Oh, hold on. Let me walk to the correct side. Okay. Yeah.
You're going to close the door?
Yes. Legionnaires, please close the door. Thank you.
They do so.
All right. And this is awkward. Sorry. Okay. There we go. And now. All right. Climbs up on the throne. That, like, not real throne, but like the one that's in this room, and sits down. All right, first I would like to thank the divinity of Diosculi today for providing the two clerics who have graciously volunteered their services for the benefit of all Northera. They will be providing us with zones of truth, which all of those who will be questioned today will willingly enter, and you will willingly answer all questions directed at you. I am going to go through this one at a time. When I get to you, you will stand in the zone. I will walk to you close enough for what I need. And then you will then feel something in your mind, and you will have to let that in. You must not resist. If you resist, you will no longer be a part of this council. Or this duchy, honestly. Are there any who disagree with these terms?
The room's quiet.
Very good. I take your silence as acceptance. High Administrator Aban Batan, I will come to you first. Please go stand in the circle of truth.
Yeah, she stands up, brushes off her black and gold robes, and clears her throat, and approaches the invisible zone of truth.
All others who are not High Administrator Aban Batan may now be seated around the table, and I will now get up and walk. High Administrator, you will now feel the touch upon your mind. Allow it in. If you resist, I will know. I will cast detect thoughts.
I understand.
All right, and then I'm going to push deeper on the cast.
Okay, that means she fails to save.
Yeah. High Administrator, who are you loyal to?
King Aethel Wifendar. And also Duke Norjeon Wafeus.
Yes. All right, and did you knowing and intentionally vote to change the Constitution to roll back child labor protections?
She looks at you and she says, at your behest, yes.
We have covered already that none of this was at my behest. We have uncovered the duplicitous traitor. We have brought that into the light, and we have vanquished the Lich who tried to prey upon our duchy. So I want to make it very clear that whether you say that it was at my behest or not, you must understand, acknowledge, and own that it was not I who requested any of that. You may say that it was at the request of the impersonator of mine, but that is all you may say on the matter. You may not attribute things to your Duke for which he was not responsible.
She nods solemnly. Understood. At the request of the traitor. Yes.
Now, why would you do that? I have my Grand Wizard over here, and I have my Lord General, both of whom saw through this charade, and both of whom understood that the real Duke Wafeus would never request such a thing, would never authorize such a thing. Can you elaborate a little bit even on the process that led you to make the decision in what you did?
She visibly begins to sweat, which is difficult for a kobold, and clears her throat. She says, I was completely convinced that it was your dukeship who was giving the order. Otherwise, my job on the line, my life on the line. That is not an order I would have stood beside. And your probing of her thoughts, you get uh, the moment she saw you return to, or the not you return to Northera, and the confusion that she felt, you feel, and then the almost immediate acceptance of said confusion, and no other real concrete thoughts since that moment.
I understand and accept the response you've given, and I see that you were truly convinced, one way or another, that this was in fact me giving these orders, and you were trying to obey them. At a later point in time, I will come to you and seek counsel and feedback for how we can improve the structure of Northera so that you may exercise more of the brain of which I know that you must have.
Understood, Duke of Face.
Administrator, is there anything else that was done in my absence?
She ponders for a second, and the thoughts that you are seeing are co-ed bathrooms, which she wasn't on board with entirely. Um, there's an ice cold sauna, which she didn't think made a lot of sense. Um, and free entrails to go with the free bread, which she kind of voted down. But beyond that, she just shakes her head no.
All right. Well, those are all very, very weird policy changes. We'll roll them back for now, and if there's any we should actually consider, we'll do that later.
She nods, visibly shook.
Hi, Administrator. You are dismissed for now. Please go sit down back at the table. But please know that I may call you back at any time.
She takes her seat.
Next, I call High Provisioner Fulred Thornboxen to the Circle of Truth.
He stands up, an elf. He stands up and walks towards the invisible zone of truth.
High Provisioner, who are you loyal to?
He ponders this for a second. In his mind, you get pictures of his home, of his parents, and then sensing very quick change to the king and yourself, and he says, King Ethel Wyffendor and yourself, Duke Norjeon with Hayes.
You hesitated, High Provisioner.
I don't mean to... What's the word? I don't mean to offend. My culture was very different than... Well, you understand, as he regards your heritage. Says, parents always came first, but, well, they're not here, are they?
I do understand, High Provisioner, and I understand where you come from, and I understand that Los Andande is still not quite as integrated as we might prefer. But, as you'll remember, in Los Andande, you were unable to rise to the Elder Council. You were too young. For hundreds of years you would be, and yet they did very little, and you kept the entire city running. And it is here that you have your opportunity to do the most good for both Northera and Los Andande.
But yes, and I'm happy to be here to make the biggest difference that I can.
Did you knowingly and intentionally change the Constitution to roll back child labor protections?
He has a brief look around the room. He looks back to you and he says, well, as we've established earlier, at the behest of the intruder, yes, I did.
Did you understand your duty that for any... No, you've adequately answered the question. I will take that. And your mind shows as well.
Order! Order! Summoning next to the podium, Dandy Woodburn has a complaint for High Provisioner 4 Red Thorn Baskin regarding the excavation and relocation of the deceased away from the sleepy overlook.
Now, I would just like to say that my name is Fulred Thornbachson. I understand that most of you here are not elves as I am, but please try.
Does it really matter?
Dandy Woodburn, a full-blooded elf, stands up and regards the High Provisioner in Elvish. Mara Amore.
Anateve echale.
Dandy,
Where's our
sensing
bed?
the discourse in the crowd, holds his hands out as if to quiet them as he regards the High Provisioner. As you all know, the grave robbing that has been occurring en masse as of late has taken a huge emotional toll on the family members and acquaintances of the deceased, not to mention the cultural and religious sensitivities that will come from this as well. Why are you moving the dead?
What have you done with them?
Well, I want to thank you for asking these questions and want to take the time to explain in case we haven't been very clear on that so far, because the care of the dead is absolutely of paramount importance to, I think, everyone here, but particularly to myself and to those whom I represent and come from. And, the reality is we have credible threats against the Sleepy Overlook, and to safeguard the dead, we are trying to move them out of the way of such threats. And unfortunately, in that process,
Where's my wife?
We have had some misadventures, might be one way to put it. And I am sorry deeply to everyone affected. Hi, Administrator. I want to second what earlier the Forge Master and the Chief Mining Officer mentioned of, any individuals here who are affected by these policies. If you have staff or anything that can collect details from them, I would love to have my staff track down any missing dead people, and so we can get closure to those families that have been affected by this terrible situation, for which, again, I want to deeply apologize for.
Dandy, looking rather heated at this request, responds plainly. I would like to know where my children are.
So they are going to be their last name is Woodburn, I imagine. And wait, hold on. Are your children dead?
What else would they be, wise guy?
I mean, that, I figure we were talking about dead people, so I want to make sure that his children were in fact dead. But it's not my place to discuss. But there is something else I've heard about that. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it further.
What an asshole!
How long? I hate to ask this, but how long have you been without your children?
I buried them just last week.
Okay. So I know what part of the process that is. I unfortunately can't tell you where they are right now because I don't have an encyclopedic memory of absolutely everything going on. But I've got multiple people on it, and I will absolutely let them know that we need to, as soon as possible, know where the Woodburn children are, and then let you know.
Her name's Woodburn, asshole.
Dandy once again turns to regard the audience as if to try to maintain some sort of seriousness in this line of questioning, as it goes without saying that this has been a very serious travesty that has occurred.
How do you lose dead people? They don't exactly walk away.
No graves, no peace. No graves, no peace.
Dandy looks over the High Provisioner one more time and says, well, sir, madam, indiscriminate, you're entitled to your incorrect opinion. And I admire the way that you try so hard to appease the masses here. I take my leave of you, Thar Noresh, as he turns around and starts to walk out.
There's administrator. There's got to be another question, right? High Provisioner, besides from the child labor adjustments, did you partake in, or are you aware of any other activities that were directed by the false individual?
Immediately, his mind switches to mass grave upheaval and redesignation. And he turns to you and he goes, now that you mention it, yes, there was one that stood out quite starkly against the void. We were instructed to, all too clearly now, move the buried dead from the sleepy overlook. And for the life of me, I can't recall to where.
High Provisioner, are you telling me you have lost our nation's dead?
You probe into his thoughts, and you can see through his eyes the very clear orders, switching to him overlooking the shovels hitting the dirt. And then there's just a lot of purple static. And he looks at you and he says, that's precisely what I'm saying.
Can I roll Arcana or anything to see if I'd understand what the purple static means?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the 15.
Okay, so you've encountered interference like this before, and it was when you were trying to use the sending message to something that wasn't what you were intending to send it to, and that was the Shadeling. And while you could get a connection, it didn't make a lot of sense. And you're probing in this, what you can glean from that with that roll is that there was a whole lot of interference there.
I'm going to try to send message to the High Provisioner.
Yeah.
High Provisioner, are you able to hear this? Does it sound like it's far away, like it clicks off like a phone that doesn't pick up or anything like that?
It sounds like send message.
Okay. Is there any reply?
He regards you and goes, loud and clear, Duke. Phaeus.
Yes. Are you hearing what I am putting in your brain clearly?
With complete certainty.
I'll speak out loud again.
He does so. He goes, aye.
High Provisioner, I find that your thoughts are clouded, your memories are clouded.
He nods. He says, I find that as well. Troubling.
Have you sought any assistance for this?
No, but perhaps that is on the table now.
Are you willing to undergo what is necessary to, if not remove this cloud, to ensure that there is no further contamination or risk of possession or anything of that sort?
I am more than happy to clear whatever this is right out of my head.
Perfect. Grand Wizard.
Yes. Duke of Phaeus.
I am putting you in charge of restoring our High Provisioner to his full mental capacity via whatever means are necessary, and he has agreed to the terms of that.
Hollard stands up. He was reading his spell book, and he claps it shut kind of at the mention of his title, and a few butterfly wings fall out of it. And he looks at you. I'll do everything in my power to do so.
If it is beyond your power, you will find that whom has the power required for this.
I will research this matter intensely.
And clerics, if you happen to have any ideas, please forward them to the Grand Wizard.
They purse their lips and nod to you. This is a concentration spell.
All right, High Provisioner, you may sit back down. Thank you for your cooperation.
He takes his seat.
Market Minister, Blix Cashflow, please rise and please walk to the Circle of Truth.
Blix stands up and pushes his chair back in and He gives a solemn nod to the rest of the council as he makes his way to the invisible zone of truth.
I'm assuming the clerics are kind of, standing in a way that it'd be obvious that but standing between them would be in the circle.
No, I just think it's funny to be like, nobody can see it, but they're going to it. No, it's fine. They go there. He goes there.
Blix, I am disappointed in you. I think of everyone here, you should have known better. But first, I must ask, who are you loyal to?
Well, as you know, I'm loyal to King Aethelwulfendor and to yourself, Duke Wafeus.
Do I detect any deception or anything like that from being in his brain?
What you see in his head is gold and gems, and you and the king.
I'll accept it. Just to be clear, Blix, I don't expect you to say the other parts out loud, but no one has offered you any gold, gems, or say other baubles of monetary value that would exceed what you've received from myself and the duchy, have they?
He shrugs and he goes, nothing I'd be interested in.
Do I see anything?
No, you believe him. You see there are some kobold females trying to vie for his attention. They're offering him rings and stuff.
Blix, why did you vote to change the Constitution and roll back the child labor provisions?
Yes, we have Dallin Ubade. Dallin Ubade, can you please come forward? He has a question for Market Minister Blix Cashlow about the ban on all exports of gems and ore.
Walk right on up, Dylan.
Dallin Ubane stands up among the crowd, although you couldn't really tell, and you wouldn't be looked down upon for not noticing him right away, as he stands a hefty 2.5 feet tall. Although he does climb to the seat of his chair in order to be seen. Dallin stands up. He's got a single monocle. He's got long black hair, which is bizarre to see in a gnome. You tends to expect it may be a toupee. He stands up on his chair as the crowd murmurs to quiet to allow him to speak. He twirls his monocle in his hand, attached to a chain, and he says, "Blix, can I call you Blix?"
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
So look, I'm no fool, right? But come on, what are we doing with these gems and ores? Why are we keeping them to ourselves? Like, what's the deal here? I understand the resource conservation. I know you want to keep everything that you dig here and home, but you're cramping our business style. I own a jewel craftery, yeah? I can't sell my jewels here when they're literally flooding the streets. What's going on?
Well, Dallin, you been obviously we want to sell the gems, of course. We got to move the product, absolutely. We got to be smooth and do all that, right? And that's what I've been brought here to do as market minister. That's my job. That's what I've been doing for 10 years, right? But we have a crisis at the moment, and the gems, jewelry is great, right? It sells for a lot of money. We use the money for a lot of things. We bring the money in here, and we can go and get, some weapons and stuff like that, but we can't get them right now. And, we've got our great forge master over there that he's here of his own accord. He's doing a great job, right? And we need to give him what he needs to make as many armaments as he can to safeguard North Era, because without North Era being what it is, I'm not market minister anymore. Then, right? Someone comes in here, they knock over the Obsidian Citadel, whatever, they take it over, and then who's running things, right? Who's do you even own your gems at that point? I'll bet you don't. So
Where's our money? We got money to make.
I feel like you're missing the spirit of the question here, Blix. What about foreign exchange earnings, right? I can't sell them at home, and I can't sell them overseas. Like, what am I doing here? You're ruining my businesses. All completely legitimate and legal, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely, they better be, right? But I mean, you're selling them to the Northeran Duchy, right? And you're getting a good deal on that. I made sure that I negotiated the best deal I could from the Forge Master and the Chief Mining Officer and everything over there, right? So
He reaches into his pockets, both hands, both sides of his pockets, and he pulls out fistfuls of gems and rings and cut earrings and necklaces, and he just showers them into the crowd behind him, who don't make a single move towards them. But Dallin stands there looking at Blix and with his hands and palms out, and he says, "I rest my case. There's an oversaturation in the market. I can't move my product. Like, you guys got to answer for this eventually. You're going to crash the whole market."
but actually, Dallin, I think that the market's going to go back up because right now, with right here, we've got an excess, right? But no one else is getting Northeran gems right now, right? So that means that when we do start selling Northeran gems again, the price for gems on the open market's going to go up, and then you got all these gems, you're able to capitalize on the market, aren't you? You gotta think smarter, Dallin.
Says, "Well, I guess in the long run, that's a pretty good thing. But for now, I'm going to go home, kick up my shoes, have a nice tall bowl of emeralds because I can't afford to buy food."
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Hang on. No, there. I am. I'm the biggest fan of free market capitalism there is in this duchy and this kingdom, right? But one of the things we do have going for us in this, is the universal basic income. You get that. You got the free bread, the free water. You should be going hungry, man. What's going on here?
Great. I'll have some toast and amethyst jam. Good evening to you, sir. As the crowd starts to jeer again, and there's a janitor you see who's come by and he's sweeping up all of these rings and gems and stuff, and he's just dumping them in a bucket.
And I'll take the gems. I know what to do with them. Come on, why you are not jeering right now, Blix Cashflow? Come on, what is this? I don't have to sit here and take this.
Yes,
Yeah, well, you know what? Come over. All right, you know what? The dungeons here are too nice, but some other time.
Zaz is a better goblin.
Now you take that back. Now that I will come fight you over.
Says, "Well, it's funny you should mention that. Well, number one, as we have repeatedly stated here, we pretty much all acted under the behest of this intruder. Whatever pamphlet he had in his pocket had us eaten out of his hands like piranha eating off a horse." And he says, "Pardon the candor. I am going to be honest with you. I always had the idea to keep our exports, well, not exported. And I think it drums up real good business here and allows us to seek more fruitious revenues to increase our profit margins. I don't see a problem with that."
Hold on. Are we talking about children still? You mentioned exports. Are you exporting children?
I mean, who's buying, am I right? And the crowd is completely silent. He goes, "No, of course not. I'm not talking. No, that was a goof. I'm sorry. No, I'm talking about the ores and the gems, of course."
Oh, tell me about these ores and gems.
Well, from our mines here in Northera, it's always been an idea of mine to, well, hoard the wealth. Not so much myself particularly, but I feel like it would do really good to increase the market value of our precious cargo.
Are you saying that we have, on top of everything else here, we have an order to not export ores or things like that? I know that the Forge Master had mentioned last night that he was working overtime, and I imagine he would need ore for that, but this sounds very different from what I had assumed from something like that.
He thinks about it for a moment, and you get flashes of the mines and gems and people mining gems and gems and mining and gold coins. And he says, well, it seems to me that a lot of factors have contributed to the influx of bodies into the workforce. And not one to shy away from, or not one rather to tell someone they can't work for me. Yeah, I employed willing and able citizens.
Blix, this is where I got to point out that we crossed into Northera from Chilaborton, which is, as you'll know, is one of two primary entries to Northera from the south, and it's probably where most individuals are going to cross over, especially coming from further away places like Vinron. The very first thing that my companions who were with me saw about our great duchy is that they saw a bunch of children toiling in the fields. And that was about all they saw, because there were pretty much no adults or anything else like that. How do you think that the very first impression of a businessman, an entrepreneur, a tycoon, anything of that sort, walking in through Childeborton and seeing that as their first impression, how in the world do we expect that they are going to want to invest here?
Well, it definitely leaves a terrible taste in my mouth, but where were the Legionnaires? There was nothing that I can recall about the adults not being there. That doesn't make any sense. How do they fend for themselves?
That was my exact question as well. And I will absolutely have questions for those who are in charge of all of that. But Blix, I do beseech you to reconsider in the future, if this comes up again, that this is not a matter of I don't think economically it works out the way that you're suggesting it does. There are repercussions that impact this duchy that go well beyond that.
He nods. He goes, yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I will say this, Blix, you are but one vote, and it takes a supermajority, and that alone you cannot provide. Is there anything else, Blix, that has occurred of which I should know?
He thinks for a moment about this effigy that he has of a very, I guess it's an effigy of a goblin, and at first you think it's him, and you realize it's not wearing any pants. And he goes, no, I got nothing else for you.
Actually, speaking of which, Blix, I have already asked one of my companions to follow up with you on this. He's a dwarf by the name of Hjalder Trollax. But I mentioned previously I've run into Zaz before. Do you happen to have a way to get in contact with him? If you do, don't worry about it, tell me now. Work with Hjalder on it. We have a message to get to him urgently.
Yeah, I suppose I can get in contact with him. Not like I, got an effigy or something in the basement. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole, Blix. But if you value Zaz's life and you value the Kingdom of Northera, the Duchy of Northera, don't want to put anything. Don't tell King Ethelwolfender I said that. Anyway, in any case, if you value both of those things, then you will work with Hjalder, and you will get that notification to Zaz, and then I suppose it will be up to him.
He looks at you and says, Zaz isn't the type that you can come to for help, if you know what I mean. But if your paths are destined to cross, then I'll find a way to get in contact with.
Oh, luckily, Blix, I hear you there, but this isn't something I so much need his, well, I kind of do need his help, but he wouldn't be helping me for me. he'd be helping himself for himself because he's about to have a very interesting surprise in the next probably between 10 and 20 days. So I hope for his sake and all of our sakes that whatever means of contact you use, he picks up the effigy, so to speak.
He clears his throat and says, "Yeah, I'll get right on that."
You are actually Blix. I'm gonna go ahead and let you leave early here, so you can go find that Hjalder should be looking for you. Please allow him to find you, and please assist him in his quest.
Because yeah, right away it's the short blonde kid, right?
Yeah. He's got a cat that changes shape. Frequently turns into dildos that usually sits on his shoulder.
Wait, what? That sounds sick. Where can I get one of those?
If it's an elven village and he stole it, but the person he stole it from died. But yeah, I guess you could get it from Hjalder.
That's
You-
real
you're-
twisted. Maybe he's up to bother. Does he like shoes? You know what? I'll ask him myself.
Blix, you are the market minister. I'm sure you can come up with a trade he'd entertain.
Got some pretty sweet shoes. And he clicks his heels together and he bows to you and he goes to Guafeus.
Market minister, thank you.
He takes his leave.
Master of Coin, Gilker, Leek Samil, it is now your time to come into the circle of truth.
Yeah, he hops off of his chair because he can't stand up because he's tiny. And he waddles his way over to the invisible circle of truth.
Master of Coin, who are you loyal to?
He looks at you, deadpan in the face. King Althawuffender and Duke Norjeon with face. Did I get it?
And what do I see in his brain?
You see that. You see that he has been planning this joke since the start of the meeting, and it has fallen flat.
Gilker, I'm gonna give you a solid here. I don't recommend trying to joke at the moment. Now, to the matter at hand, did you knowingly and intentionally change the Constitution to roll back child labor protection?
Well, yes. Notwithstanding the argument that we've all been hearing tonight, yes. I was privy to that.
Did you even try to object? Did you point out that maybe there would be some engineering improvements we could make that could mitigate the requirement of child labor? Did you try anything to defend the Constitution as it is?
He says, "Well, I did have some things in the work," and in his head, you see flashes of his personal workshop wall, upon which hang many different kinds of devices. One of them is like a belt that you put on that has hands that mimic your hands, so you could have like 4 hands, so you could do twice the work. There's another one that is just a wheelbarrow. He's real proud of that one. And he's like, I took this as an opportunity to try to improve the workers' output level. I mean, it was brought up by the imposter, and we agreed to it. So, by proxy, yes, even though the children were involved, it's something we went for.
Gilker, I appreciate that I truly know where your loyalties lie. I'm going to have to give you a bit of a heads up here that later today you may encounter an individual who just don't be jealous, okay?
I don't. Do they have a bigger wrench? Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, so is there? I appreciate you working on the projects. Keep working on those. Those are all. We want to improve the life of our laborers. Period. And maybe target them to adults because we are rolling back the child labor thing. Just to be clear. But I appreciate the sentiment. Is there anything else that went on that I should know about?
Order! I will not go forward without order! Next, we have Leif Thornside. He has a question for the Master of Coin, Gilker Ligasmile, about the Bank of Firm or Horde buying up lands and deeds, forcing people into bankruptcy. But Mr. Ligasmile. Mr. Ligasmile, wake up!
That's not my name. My name is Leek Samil. So, anyway, I'm awake. What are we doing here?
Leif stands up. He's very simply dressed. He's wearing a set of overalls, and he's got a sprig of straw in his mouth. And puts his foot up on his chair so that his knee is poking out, and he rests his elbows on his knee, and he says, now, Gilcor, is that how you say it, Gilcor? Is that a family name?
The family name is actually League Samil, but I'll take it. Yeah, Gilker's good. Yeah, Gilker's good. Do that. Yeah.
Well, I do try to address my adversaries in the most benign ways I can. You see,
adversary. That's a strong word there, kind partner.
as far as I understand it, I have the floor, Gilcor, if you don't mind. Now, I'm all for having a monopoly on market control, but if you folks up there continue to buy up all the farmland, how are we supposed to keep everybody fed?
Well, by you folks, what exactly are you saying there?
You shiny horsed folks with your silken hats and your feathers coming out your elbows. I don't understand that part one bit, but we're not here to discuss your fashion choice.
How's the trend?
Ugly trends.
Well, this costs a lot of money now. This is a lot of backlash over what's a fancy. Go ahead anyway.
You should ask for a refund.
I've got a cousin out past Dragonsbane Garrison that owned a 2-story tenement building. And you guys came and snapped right up from under her. She had made the last payments not 3 weeks ago. What do you intend to do with a 2-story tenement building? It's not very big.
Now, I do say, you talking to me as the market, that's the job of my friend, my little goblin friend over here. But you talking about me as the master of coin here, or are you talking about Fairmore Horde, the bank?
Right. She had a deed with your bank, and the bank decided that she no longer required it.
Well, what the bank does. That's how banks are. I'm not running the day-to-day of the bank anymore. Am I? Does it look like I'm doing that? Look here. Yeah. Do I look like I'd spend all day running the bank?
You don't look like you're doing much of nothing, sugar.
And that's the goal. That's all your goal in life, right? You all want to be here right now.
Leif's eyes narrow as he looks at Gilcor and says, "When's the last time you had a piece of that free bread that we offer here?"
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know what the chef cooks with, but, if he uses the free bread, then, maybe earlier today.
And chances are you had wheat from my farm. Leif takes off his boots that are covered in mud, caked in dirt. And he pours the dirt all over his chair. And he looks up at Gilcor and says, "Well, here's the rest of my land, I guess, if you come to collect it. So with that, I guess I'll go sleep under a bridge somewhere."
Can we get some cleanup over there? Looks like we've got the spill of the dirt or something like that. Someone didn't check their boots at the door.
Well, I never.
There's a resounding sound of boos and jeers as more people begin taking off their shoes and pouring dirt all over the nicely constructed community hall's floor. The janitor, whose bucket is full of gems and jewels, is walking around sweeping now dirt, grass, and grime into his pan and pouring it all over the gems.
Well, I do say, did they need some more materials for war creation stuff and whatnot? There's a bunch of leather right there with those shoes. Someone should go grab those up and throw those into some armor or some stirrups or something.
Well, It was also decreed that we begin to buy up land immediately. Farmhouses, deeds to manors that had not been paid in a little bit of time. We were collecting up as much real estate as we can get our hands on. That was what was asked of us. I mean, we still have all the deeds. Obviously, this is. I run a tight ship here, so it's not a huge deal to return them to the injured parties if the injured parties are still a part of North Era, so to speak.
We haven't lost any land, have we? Do you mean like people left?
Well, we didn't lose land, but the stadium aftermath was definitely going to leave some land up for grabs.
Gotcha.
To put it crudely, I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's I mean, it's not great, right? But what I'd like you to do is to reverse all transactions which have been done. In any cases where there is land that is now free and there is no claimant to it, I would like you to coordinate with the High Provisioner and identify the families whose loved ones were lost in the transition of the graves. I'd also like those moved back, by the way, High Provisioner, if possible, if we can locate where in the heck they are. So, yes, prioritize anyone who, lost a loved one. Make sure that they get first chance on any better housing or anything like that. Give them 0% interest for the property if they would like to take us up on it. And please ensure that for anyone whose property was bought up by the bank or anything like that, that there is no interest or anything like that charged to them. In fact, Gilker, how is the treasury looking? Do we have enough coin to be able to, say, provide 5% of the value of the house or the land in addition to giving them their land back?
He does that inward breathing through clenched teeth. Yes. Yeah, that's something we can do. Oh boy. Balls in a vice here. Yeah, we could do that.
Then do it we shall. We'll have to obviously rebuild Real Sheep Stadium, and maybe that'll be an opportunity to put the licensing up for auction again. Maybe we can make some of that gold back.
Yeah, I love Gorstein as much as the next guy, but we gotta get some other people out there, like Taylor Slow.
I'll leave you and Blix to figure the specifics of all that out. Also, the only reason, Gilker, that this was possible is because you still maintain ownership of the bank, right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be nice and let you know up front that at a future point in time, I'm gonna have a discussion with this council collectively, and we're gonna talk about new rules that prevent council members from owning, assets like that while they're council members. I feel that may be a conflict of interest here, and that allowed what was a private entity to do something it may not otherwise have been able to do. I know there's risks either way, but I think this is a sensible course of action to improve the situation in the future.
He looks deep in thought, and he is, because he immediately starts looking for loopholes.
There are no loopholes here, Gilker. The loophole I'm giving you is that I'm telling you now, and I'm not bringing the business before the wider council at the very moment, in part because I need the bank to remain as it is so we can undo what was done without any further entanglements or issues. But once that process completes, say within a month or two, I need you to be ready to transition ownership of your bank to next in command. I know that many of your family are involved, so take this time, this month or two, alongside the other tasks I've given you, to determine who among your family is most trustworthy, or who you feel would lead the bank best, and prepare them for what will come.
He seems relieved at you saying that, and he nods and he goes, yeah, no, I understand.
Thank you, Master of Coin. You are dismissed. Chief Mining Officer Ivan Polodromux, please enter the Circle of Truth.
Yeah, she stands up and she clinks as she walks because it's clear that her pockets are full of dirt and rocks because she's come straight from the mines to come here, and she stands in the not quite visible zone of truth.
Chief Mining Officer, who are you loyal to?
I am loyal to Duke Wafeus and King Eva Wolfendor and my workers, who have been pulling triple shifts.
Hold on, what?
As per the decree of the imposter, all miners and smiths to that effect have been pulling triple shifts, and myself included.
Well, thank you for your efforts and thank your miners for me as well, but we should stop that immediately. We shouldn't. I mean, in fact, my understanding is we're not even exporting any ore or anything like that, according to the market minister. So I don't think we have a need to do this anymore, do we?
I couldn't be in more agreement with you. I will immediately call for the cessation of all work activities and have an extended 3-day vacation for all workers involved so that they could be home with their families.
Perfect. That is, you have done better than I could do there. That is exactly what we will do. Well, I have it here that you supported the employment of children. Do you have anything to say about that?
It was a bit jarring at first, I will admit. However, I am not one to question the undaunting authority of, our Duke Wafeus. And when I was given the command, for better or for worse, I followed through.
Well, yes, we must follow orders, but at the same time, we will work on finding a better way that, if you need to stand up for the laborers, that you can make the concerns known and not feel that you will be thrown in a dungeon as a result of it. As that's what I mean. That's why we have you as our chief mining officer. You have a long history of doing what's best for the miners.
I'm happy to be here to do as well as I can for our hardworking men and women and kobolds.
Well, thank you for your continued service, and yes, please make sure if there are any children still in your mines that you get them home safely to their families, and let their families know that they're not welcome back at work in the mines until they're, whatever the legal age is at the time that they come of it. But for now, tentatively 18.
She puts her hand in a fist up across her chest, and she nods.
Thank you, Chief Mining Officer. If there's nothing else that I should know about, then you are free to take a seat again.
She takes her seat.
Forge Master Ruzak Roldur, please report to the Zone of Truth.
The dwarven man stands up, long black beard, completely covered in soot. Crunchily makes his way to the. If you tilt your head at the right angle, you can kind of see the Zone of Truth.
Forge Master, who are you loyal to?
I'm loyal to King Ethel Wifendor and to you, my Duke, Norjeon Wafeus.
Did you see anything extra in his mind?
Boogers.
Wow. This pleases me greatly, Forge Master. I don't even catch a whiff of loyalty to Norjeon.
He nods and says, "Well, as you may know, as you can tell from my accent, I don't really have a home there anymore."
Is this due to, well, I don't, obviously you had a choice in the matter to accept the offering which I gave to you, but is this due to your acceptance of my offer?
He says, "No, this happened a long time ago, and
Forge Master, you've honestly told me everything I need to know here already, so I heard from you yesterday about the increase in weapon production. I also heard your horror at what they ended up being used for, so I trust I don't need to correct anything further there. We do not need to continue elevated production, so I believe that the chief mining officer mentioned the smithies and everything like that. We're also working overtime. Please give them a 3-day holiday as well. Within reason, I actually have a couple of things I need from you, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later. My ass needs some better armor, and I've got a couple other requests if you don't mind.
Yeah, when you say that, Gilcar shifts in his seat. Forge Master clears his throat again. He says, "Yeah, well, yes, it's a very tragic incident. While I understand that my weapon and my armor are for justice and meting out said justice, it's never an intention for it to have transpired the way it did."
Well, I will dismiss you back to your seat, and you'll go forth from here. Thank you. I ask now from everyone here, is there anything else, anything at all, which may not have yet been brought up, but which should be brought up in this proceeding so that we can understand and address anything and everything which has been run amok?
I don't mean any disrespect to present company, but several of us trained very hard for very many weeks to get to the position that we're in. Hollard, was it? Grand Wizard, since when did you take wizards into your employ? It's very new. Granted that we've had imposters as of late, not that I'm saying you are an imposter, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. This is very strange behavior.
I do, High Provisioner, and actually I appreciate that you have noticed. This is, everyone take note. When I say that this council is empowered to be more than just sycophants, this is what I'm talking about. I can do what it is that I can, but I am a single individual, a single point of failure. Northera must stand stronger than that, and to do so, it requires you all to take uncomfortable risks, to use your brains in particular, and to ask questions, investigate. Do so discreetly. Do not alert the populace. Do not make the populace fearful. Do not sow discord about your ruler. However, it is up to you when things are wrong or out of place to identify that, to address it, and catch it just as Lord General and as Grand Wizard Hollard both managed to do. And that is what I expect in the future. But yes, High Provisioner, absolutely. This is a change. As you're aware, we have chambers enough for 3 additional council members alongside the 7 we had prior to Hollard's arrival. I encountered Hollard part of my journey. He is responsible for me being here today. He has saved my life and that of many others. He has demonstrated to me that not all wizards are to be as distrusted as we historically have done so in Northera, and how I in particular have.
You're not sure if Hollard is a chameleon, but he's definitely turning several shades of red right now.
So Hollard has earned his place here by saving my life, but also this council does much, yes, and we talk about a great many things. We work on a great many things. One of that which we have been missing is the ability to truly research and apply the art of magic more efficiently to benefit the land of Northera. If anything, with this child labor incident has pointed out to me more than ever, it's that the fact that we have an exception and that we will continue having an exception for the purification of water is unacceptable. It cannot go forward. It shall for the time that it must, but we should endeavor to end it. Now, I don't know if Hollard will succeed in this, but one of the first tasks I have given him is to find a way to improve upon what we have now. Right now, we rely on prestidigitation. It's very inefficient. It's part of why we require so much labor just to drink water in this land. But I hope that in this project and other endeavors, our new Grand Wizard will help us identify new solutions. And that, the best I can, this is the closest you will hear me ever come to this, very likely. I admit that in previously not looking for alternative solutions, not looking at individuals thinking differently than I, or approaching the problem from different angles than I might, we have fallen short of what Northera could be, and this is my first attempt at trying to rectify that. But yes, I do imagine if in the future we have another addition to the council, you'll get a little bit better of a heads up than you had here. I've taken some. We're going to have some new security measures in place, some new communication measures. Lord General, while your service has been profound, and while your regency in my absence has been appreciated, we will no longer go forward like that. I will rule from abroad if need be, and stay in touch, so that the council may operate as intended, and then we will have our Duke as Northera is intended to.
Yeah, he nods to you and he says, I take no offense. I've done as well as I can. It cost me an arm, but I would do it again were it to cost me my legs. Lord General, what's your waist size? He says, we can talk about that later.
Right, yes, we don't have to handle this now.
Well, forgive the line of questioning, but, well, and I may have actually a few resolutions for this in my back pocket, but you did say that your life was almost forfeit. What were to happen to the dukedom if you were to pass? Is there any plans for a duchess? I have a few names if you're interested. There's plenty of eligible bachelorettes.
Well, as you know, Chief Mining Officer, I always accept the names, and
good, strong kobolds lift boulders right over their heads. Many hundreds of pounds.
Wait, hundreds of pound boulders or kobolds?
Yes.
I feel like D-Rex needs to know about this.
She's like, who's that?
You haven't. When you take your vacation, Chief Mining Officer, here's you know what, I'll hand it to you on the way out. I'm going to give you a card, and you're going to go to the 9th level of Golbest Inner City, and you're going to look for Patata Slut, and you're going to spend at least 4 hours there, and both the front and the back, and you're going to enjoy everything they have to offer.
She sees you reach into your pocket and pull one of these out, and she's like, you just carry those on you?
Yes, as Northera's foremost ambassador, it's also in part my business to promote the business of Northera, and you'd be amazed at the amount of guests we receive for our ninth level inner city district.
She says, oh, I'm sorry. I see you're already on the lookout for a duchess. I'll take my seat.
Oh, well. In any case, you're welcome to submit the names to High Administrator Ambaton, and I will follow up with her as appropriate. And if I have time for liaisons or similar, they will receive consideration.
Mr. Crackish, who has been sitting in the corner this whole time, looks around the table and he says, I guess I'll be the one to posit this question, Duke Wafeus. That's a Vinron ship that just landed on Goldbeth, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm not one to tell you your business, but maybe some elaboration?
We have received aid from a foreign ally in our time of need, And that is where that stands. Lord General, I will follow up with you on some other pressing matters, which will require prompt communication with some outlying Legion forces.
He says, duly noted.
Do you have security concerns over the bad dragon?
I always have security concerns, you know that.
I am glad that you do. You are welcome to broach them to me after the meeting if you would like, and if there are protocols or anything like that, we will need to push the ship through we can. At present, though, I had them dock, as they are too large to dock in our normal docking station, to the south of the city, upon which our ballistae are trained. So I don't imagine there's much the ship can do if it tries to leave without permission, without getting immediately brought down by about at least 12 ballistae, if not more, which are intended to bring down dragons. I imagine they should have no trouble taking out one sky galleon.
He says, I don't know. I saw what that thing can do.
Well, the only further I'll say there is that that was less the ship and more the captain.
He nods at you.
Does that conclude business for the day?
Everyone kind of murmurs. No one really speaks up.
Order! Order! We now call to the stage the next person with their question. It is a Miss Kate Willowcourt, and she has a question for High Administrator Abba Uttenbatten and Lord General Musta Krakish about the deployment of our troops.
Kate stands up. She has medium-length brown curly hair, and she's wearing a brown apron that is quite possibly stained with every color and mess this side of North Era. And she goes, a quick correction there. It's actually Caitlin Willowcourt. As she turns to address Uttenbatten. She says, well, it's really not my place. I've not really come to these. It's my first time here. I don't really know the way of things, but if it places the court, the council, I just have one simple question. Why is there a legion of troops outside of my inn in Autumn Rock?
Well, you see, there is a threat in your village, and we must make sure that it is contained.
She says, I don't know if my bar can hold more people. I mean, they're not even paying customers. I've had my fair share of those in my time. Mr. Krakish, his eyes have been narrowing this time. He's like, what? I didn't agree to any troop deployment. What is happening?
Well, we have we have moved a contingent with a few phalanxes to the border of the Syria. There's a little town called Autumn Rock because there was an incident there some weeks ago.
On whose command? I don't remember signing off on any of this.
Well, I have an order here. It is from the Duke Norjeon Viviri. It is...
Let me see that. And he grabs it. He reads it hastily as the crowd begins to murmur.
Is there gonna be more? What do you mean he doesn't know? You're doing troop deployments without Lord Musta Krakish?
What is Duke Matthias thinking?
Well, you see, there is not much time. It is a volatile situation. The Duke called for aid immediately.
Musta Krakish balls the order up in his hand and slams it back down on the podium. And he turns to Abba Uttenbatten and he says, I'm taking this up with the king. Y'all are being far too reckless.
I do not take the life of our Duke, so politely, I suppose, as you do. I am protecting him. I am sending what we need there and to contain the situation and to help him as he has asked for. I have sent my own guards from Golbeth.
He says, I know Viviri. He would never agree to something like this. And Mr. Krakish
Are you sure about that?
He's right.
That doesn't sound like the Duke.
So Musakrakish turns and he exits the building through which the council entered. And Caitlin, fully unsure of herself, is standing there pushing her fingers together, and she says, Could you at least pay for a night or two at the inn? I'm really strapped for cash at the moment.
Like, Caitlin, are we using your inn?
Well, it's not like you guys come dressed up in your, battle gear, but it's very obvious to tell. It's a small town. I know most of the people there.
Are you saying that legionnaires are leaving their camps and coming to sleep in your inn?
I'm not saying they're not doing it, but
You have proof of this? If you have proof, then can you make invoices? I could file invoices. There's a whole procedure. Would you like me to go through the procedure with you of getting reimbursed for lodging?
You'll never get that money. You get caught in administrative hell. Run while you can.
I have done everything I can here. And we still feel awful about that. I think about her every day, and I try to do better to make sure that this duchy runs the best it possibly can in her honor.
true to form, just like the other speakers before her, Caitlin reaches into her pocket and she pulls out a ledger. And she says, well, I've got the names of the people right here. Let's see, I'll just go over a few of them with you. We have a Mr. Dick Burns, a Mr. Chip Monk. There's a Dr. Dandruff. We have Charity Case. I mean, the list goes on. It's pretty extensive.
Are you sure that these are Northeran legionnaires as opposed to trolls or fairies or some other creature that is trying to get their eyes out of you? Because those don't sound like Northeran names to me.
You really think someone would do that? Just go into a new town and lie? Look, this one right here, Gene Poole.
Do you know the shit I had to deal with as mayor of Golbeth for 4 years? Come on now, yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me. Watch your language, sir. This is a public forum, not a bar.
What's your language, person? I am a she.
I don't care what you are. You will speak with respect to these forum members when you are in my court.
Well, you are not the High Administrator. I am.
Well, somebody has to check you.
This is not a game of hockey.
She throws her paper at him.
Y'all are doing that, and Caitlin is just Kenny Penny, Jordan Rivers, Jenny Toole, Lily Pond, and then she's just going over names. And the whole forum begins to break down into chaos as legionnaires begin to push in to restore order.
I suppose it is possible that Northeran, but is he part? Well, I'd ask the Lord General, but he is gone. I'll have my staff check into whether he's part of the Legionnaires or not. It's.
He takes his seat and throws it out the window now. And also, with Norjeon with crap. That's not you. Run! The jig's up! She says so.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
What's the name of the place? From the Sweepy Overlook, which is the janitorial graveyard, which is right next to Mickey Mouse is back, hell. We're gonna get sued.
He's a gavel.
No, that's Ricky Rat.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Ricky Rat's a thing. That's right. I have the whole thing about that.
Yeah, that's Ricky Rat. Not to be confused with any copyright claims.
We're short people. We understand each other.
Nope, I'm not doing that. Cutting that right out. If we're doing that, I'm bringing a very different representative. And this will not go well. It will not go again.
Oh, You got to make somebody really annoying, though. He actually is trying to picture Norjeon naked, except he has no idea what he looks like underneath. So it's like this really bad Johnny Bravo caricature.
With a beam of light for a sensor bar.
Perfect.
And then in his mental image, he goes, "How you doing?"
They don't call me a deep gnome for nothing. All right. We're moving on
I,
past that immediately.
They're also like a pinup poster of Norjeon.
And he just has like a cog covering his genitals. He's holding a wrench.
It's like a firefighter magazine, but it's all Norjeon. And they're all like crudely drawn.
Yes. Tim McGraw.
I'll
Hey, Trog, cut this out. Okay, Trog. Great. God.
Ew, woo.
Ada.
Wait. Do we want to put that in the crowd?
No.
Oh,
Just what? Like, how's it go? Woo. Kill me. Just shoot me in the head. All right, we're done.
Somebody's enabled.
Ora.
Okay, I'm stopping.
All right, we're all gonna sing "Butterfly in the Sky" together. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Butterfly in the sky. Oh, I can't do it while your mic's open. We're gonna share a mic. Come here. Ready? Come closer. 1, 2, 3.
Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look. It's in a book.
Of reading rainbow.
We weren't all supposed to take the low note. Oh, hang on, let me do it again. The reading rainbow. Perfect.